Hello everyone, welcome to Energy First Golf. Today in this video, I have a lot of viewers ask me, we have a 4 different chip and release, and can you do a video that's down the line so we know why you do it, and talk about what situations you do it, based on those 4 release, and why does it need 4 release? Well, understanding energy first, impact later. Remember, we are actually a system of a learning. It doesn't mean you have to learn all 4 release. But as a system of a learning, we must teach you so that way you know how to improve, how to get better, and how to be very artistry with your golf game. So you're not limited. But yeah, you can literally chip with a wine glass and dead hand release all day long, and you'll be fine. But depends on situation, you may want to do something a little bit different. So so right now what I'm gonna do is first actually I'm gonna talk about, because I have 2 clubs right now in my hand. I'm just gonna talk about the number 4 release, which is called the run. Basically, you can do the exact same thing with your 7 or 8, 9, even 4 iron. Sometimes it's just a bump and run, a low shot. But sometimes I like to do it with a 60 degree, because I like to see the ball check a little bit and maybe roll to the left. So for example, right now I'm gonna do this with a, well, as you guys can see there, because there's no flag because the COVID-19, so I put the clubs on the ground. All right, so I'm gonna do a actually number 7 iron, but I'm gonna do a bump and run. But so this release will be considered what most people know as dead hand release, right? Meaning there's very little movement of the hands. All I'm gonna use a 7 iron, and I'm just gonna rotate my body and relax my hands, right? So as you can see right now, the ball runs, well, there's a little bit uphill. I'm gonna do one more, all right? Because I think there's an uphill. So you can see right now, the ball rolls to the left. But you can see the result because the 7 iron, right? And the ball, I hit it a little bit further, right? Get in the hole. But what if I say that, hey, you know what? I'm gonna be a little bit more aggressive. I'm gonna use my 60 degree. I'm put the ball in the middle, and I'm gonna do a run release with my 60 degree that's turning over, which is the rotation, and let's see what happens. So you can see that there's a little bit more aggressive movement. Now, obviously, after the hole, there's downhill. I'm gonna do one more, right? So you can see the ball gets pretty low. I get in the hole. So right there. Now remember, this is a 60 degree wedge, but the ball is pretty low and has a little check on it. So you can see the variation, right? With the 7 iron, I don't have so much of a check, but just more of a like a, hey, a run. There you go. Now again, it's not about which is better. It's just about you practice. If you want to become more, have more options, become more artistry, and you can do that. So that way, what I just showed you is called a run with the 60 degree, right? I'm gonna do one more, right? I like that. So you can see the ball actually checked a little bit, but obviously after the hole, this particular situation, again, if I am playing golf in this particular situation, I probably wouldn't do neither of those. But for the sake of video, I'm showing you the difference. All right, now I'm gonna go back to 60 degree. Then I'm gonna use dead hand release. Dead hand release, a lot of times it's very delicate. So then right now I have a hole right here like this. In this situation, maybe tend to use what I call the wine glass, toe down, hold the club like a putter. Now obviously my hands, my wrist is gonna be pretty relaxed, and I'm gonna do this. So you can see that's a very delicate shot. Or I can say, hey, you know what? I'm gonna do the same thing, but this time I'm gonna use just a dead hand release, put my body forward a little bit, my weight forward, okay? And it's gonna do that. And this is not a wine glass setup. Get in the hole. So you can see there's no right or wrong. It's just, again, work on it. Work on the ball position and work on if you want to open your body, close your body. But the release is what you got to feel because your body movement, so there's got to be a sense of a release. Now, of course, there's still lagging in the hands. It means lagging means your wrist is pretty relaxed. You never want to, again, if your wrist is not relaxed, chance are you are definitely using a lot of two-dimensional force. It means your arms to create a contact. Because the idea is that if you release, there's no contact, means your body's going to create energy. The club's going to get through the ball with the type of desire of a release that you're working on that's getting through the ball. You're never contacting the ball. And the truth is, earlier when I was doing the number 4 release, I literally feel like the club is just turning over. Really, matter of fact, the moment of impact, it feels like the club is touching the ball with a shut face. Okay? Wow, look at that. All right. So now we're going to talk about the hinge and roll and also the lag release. All right, right now, so we got some more balls. I'll collect them back. And now we're going to do hinge and roll and then the lag release. Now, a lot of people always ask me, well, what is the difference between the dead hand and the hinge and roll? Again, the wine glass and the dead hand is more delicate. But if I want to be more aggressive, sometimes I will use what? Hinge and roll. It all depends on distance and condition of the green. So I'm going to do a hinge and roll, meaning it looks like this. Hinge and movement and roll. So you can see I'm quote unquote have a steeper angle. Okay. So I'm going to do one right now. Okay. And you can see this is actually very aggressive. And that's not a good shot, but I have a good contact. I'm going to do one more. Usually, again, from here to that hole is actually very close. I should probably do it in the hole in the back. For the sake of demonstration, I'm gonna do one again and try to get close to it. But really, then it would be defeating the purpose of being aggressive. But just for the sake of video, I'm gonna do one hinge and roll. There you go, right there. Okay. Again, I like to use this when I'm being more aggressive. Say right now, I'm gonna hit past this hole. I'm gonna go to the next hole. I want to be more aggressive. Okay. So you can see the idea that you would see a lot of tour players would do where they hinge and they tend to move the wrist a little bit, have this feeling just to get a little bit more check and a little bit more distance. Okay, so that's hinge and roll. And the truth is, it really depends on the situation. This is obviously very generic. So that was hinge and roll. I'm gonna do one more just for fun, right? All right, actually, I'm gonna hit, see if I can bring the ball back. I'm gonna aim it left and bring the ball. I'm gonna put the ball back of the stand a little bit. Let's come down. All right, there we go. I like that. All right, now let's talk about lag release. Lag release is really one of my favorite because I can do it really anywhere, right? So I'm gonna stand a little taller and I'm gonna have an open stance, open club face, right? And then we know what lag release means. You take the club back with your core and you downswing with your rotation and allow the wrist to lag behind you and allow the momentum of the motion to get the ball and get the club under the ball. So that way the ball will go higher. So I'm gonna do one more. Now I'm gonna do lag release. Okay. So you can see right now the ball goes very high. Obviously, I open up the club face, okay? And then I'm gonna do one that goes to the back. Open face, lang release. Feel the club's gonna drop under the ball. There you go. And you can see the ball just stops, right? But I can tell you guys, when I'm doing that, my hands are pretty relaxed. They're never try to hit the ball. They're not contacting the ball. I'm gonna do one more. This time I'm gonna put the ball forward. I'm trying to get the ball really high. Right there. All right. So you guys see that is the lag release. Okay. Now obviously, again, a lot of times a professional player will combine a lot of them together. Say for example, right now, if I do this, I have a lower setup, way in the forward, open face, and hinge wrist, and then turn my body. Okay. So in other words, you can see there's hinge movement, there's rotational movement, and there's dead hand release. There's no any type of motion with my hands. So that's what you see a lot of tour player would do, is that type of chipping style. Let's do one, which is what I call the combination, right? And the truth is, a lot of times you'll see a further distance. With a shorter distance, you wouldn't do it. So I'm gonna do one right now. Okay, what I call the combo: hinge and turn, hinge and turn. So there you go, right? Hinge and turn. Now, but why I don't call that a release? Because really the club is a dead hand release. There's no movement, and there's not a lot of significant noticeably lag because I hinge my wrist and I'm turning. But remember, all the stuff we talked about with the hinge of the wrist, they're not forceful. They're never are like harsh. Okay? Because your energy is coming from here. All of this is just a formality. You're not using your arms to try to hit the ball. That's the reason why energy first, impact later. You're not dealing with impact. You're dealing with release. Okay, so this is what tour players do. They set up either open face or not. Again, but again, if you understand all the release, there's so many options with open face, club head, open stance, shut stance, ball position. You can play around with all of those. So right now, again, this is what tour player would do sometimes. They set up, hinge your wrist, and turn. You can see when I hinge my wrist and turn, the club never move because it's a dead hand release. It just glides under the ball. But obviously, when I turn my shaft, my hands are in front of the ball. And also, you all know that I grip it like a chipping grip. Okay, let's just do more and more for fun, right? Actually, I'm trying to do it very delicate. I'm gonna put the ball forward, hinge, and turn. Aha! I didn't do it because I really try to get the ball higher up and get to that hole. I'm gonna do one more because I do a little bit too fast. I'm gonna do it slowly. There you go. And the truth is, a lot of times you will see that because I am using my sort of the bounce, and that's completely okay. But really, obviously, this distance, and also a lot of times I like to use those shots when the ball is just a little bit hover. The grass is better because you can see, obviously, you can see the grass here is pretty dried up. So again, we talked about a lot about releases and at least give you guys a side view of what that means. And so, but if you want to work on it, really check out our video on all the releases, and also check out our belt. Okay, and a lot of times when I play golf, I don't wear gloves, but when it gets hot in summertime, I definitely wear FO golf glove. So all right, so don't forget to leave a comment, click like, and subscribe to our channel by click on this button right here, and check out these two videos if you want to know more about energy first, impact later. And I will see you next time.